Hello everyone. Welcome to the inauguration ceremony for Spaceport Esrange. It's a beautiful winter day here in northern Sweden and we're so excited to have you with us. Today we'll be celebrating a major space milestone. Spaceport Esrange is the first space station in Europe to offer satellite launch services for the European mainland. What's so special about that? Well, at Swedish Space Corporation, we're on a mission to help Earth benefit from space. By adding the capability of launching satellites from European soil, we're realizing one of our goals and helping ensure peace, prosperity, and freedom for the European Union and all of humanity. And Esrange is especially suited to the task. With the cooperation of the Sami people and their reindeer herds, SSC maintains more than 500 square kilometers of isolated wilderness, perfect for launching satellites. Our guest speakers today will include the Chair of Swedish Space Corporation, Anna Kinberg Batra, the President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, the Prime Minister of Sweden, Ulf Kristersson, and helping cut the ribbon, none other than His Majesty, the King of Sweden. Other special guests will include the Director General of the European Space Agency, executives from Ariane Space Group, ISAR Aerospace, and OHB Sweden, as well as many other prominent industry representatives, distinguished commissioners, and ministers. While we're waiting for the ceremony to begin, let me tell you a little bit more about Esrange and SSC. Esrange is one of the most versatile and sustainable space stations in the world, and the main hub of the SSC Connect network. For over 50 years, we've helped scientists, institutions, and commercial companies access the wonders of space. SSC has launched over 700 sounding rockets from Esrange and over 1,000 stratospheric balloons. Not only that, SSC has ground stations all over the world where we support satellite communications, lunar missions, and launcher tracking. We also provide engineering services for manned missions and data analytics for global awareness. How do satellites help Earth benefit from space? The list of applications is practically endless. Monitoring climate change, pollution, deforestation, agriculture, conservation, and crisis management. These things go hand in hand with the themes our attendees will be discussing today, including democratic values, a green transition, European competitiveness, and security. Spaceport Esrange will help enable all of this and much more by providing access to space with a focus on security and sustainability. Thank you for your patience. Our guests are touring the facility. The ceremony will begin shortly.
Welcome to the last guest. We hope you enjoyed yesterday evening and this day in Norrbotten. Your Majesty, Madam President, Prime Minister, Commissioners, Ministers, all of distinguished guests who are here today, welcome to Esrange. In July 1969, two young Swedish engineers, newlyweds, watched on TV how the first man took the historic first step on the moon. 9 months later, they had their first child, and today it's my pleasure, as chair of the Swedish Space Corporation, to welcome you all here to this inauguration. Today, we take a historic next step. This third Swedish EU presidency starts in the most troubled of times. Therefore, security must be our first priority. And therefore, independent European access to space is of strategic importance. Spaceport Esrange will be the first spaceport on mainland EU, which enables rapid launch capacities and other strategic capabilities compatible with both EU and NATO needs. Secondly, space enables competitiveness. Much of our everyday life, especially of course everything digital, is relying on satellite networks. With our new orbital launch capacity, Esrange provides an ecosystem of space services together with academia, institutions, and business. We may find ourselves many miles away from most European capitals, including Brussels, but this region, this area, is actually a center for space talent, technology, and entrepreneurship from all around the world. Thirdly, space-driven Earth observation, sensoring, and data analysis are key to reach our sustainability goals. Yes, of course, Spaceport Esrange is fueled by fossil-free energy, and also fossil-free rocket fuel is developed and tested here. And together with our partners in ESA, we now also take the next step in the development of reusable European rockets. And finally, our democratic values remind us of why space technology needs to be used and refined by, yes, us Europeans. Space-enabled access to data, information and communications are strategic tools for any leaders in the world, and that's why we, with our values, must use them better than anyone else. Europe needs security, competitiveness, sustainability and democratic values, and space enables all of them. Inaugurating this first mainland spaceport in the EU may be a small step for us, but it enables a giant leap for Europe. Welcome to Spaceport Esrange. And now, I'd like to give the floor and be proud to introduce Director General of the European Space Agency, Dr. Josef Aschbacher. Welcome.
Thank you, Anna. Very warm welcome also from my side, Your Majesty, dear Prime Minister, dear Ministers, dear Madam President of the European Commission, dear guests, dear friends also within the European Commission, Thierry in particular, very happy to be here with you. It's a great pleasure for me to be here again in Kiruna, this wonderful site which offers so much to space and the European Space Agency. Of course, we all know the year 2022 was marked with a war in Ukraine, but also with drought, which has reminded us how important satellites and space is for us all, for Europe and for our citizens. Think of navigation, think of Earth observation satellites, and think now of secure connectivity, where I'm really glad to see the initiative of the Commission, together with the European Space Agency, on secure connectivity to be the third flagship program of space in Europe. Let me remind you that we have already two other successful flagship programs, Copernicus and Galileo. Let me also remind you that these are prime examples where Europe has been catching up. On Galileo, we have been behind. GPS was existing since several decades. Europe decided that we need a navigation system, and today we have the most accurate signal coming from Galileo, and Europe, that means the European Commission, European Space Agency, with all its partners, can be very proud of having established today the world's best navigation system. The same applies to Copernicus. Since 1972, the US has provided the world with Earth observation data called Landsat. We have decided, again with a bit of delay, to establish a European system which developed now into Copernicus. Again, the European Union, European Space Agency, working hand in hand, establishing today the world's best Earth observation system. We can be very proud of that. Now we have to catch up in secure connectivity. We have others who are leading in the world, who have been showing how important it is during times of war. Now we need to put our efforts together to make it happen. And in launches, also here, we have to catch up, I have to say. And I will work with my member states, with the European Commission, together how we can do that and what needs to be done. And this is why this spaceport here in Kiruna is so important, because it points to the future. We have to catch up on launches. We need reusable launches. We need to be faster in order to do that. And this model you see in the back here, Themis, is pointing the way to the future, because this is what the European Space Agency has initiated together with our member states and with our partners, also with the European Commission, to develop a reusable engine called Prometheus, with a first stage reusable, which is the Themis space engine here. And we will do first hop tests from Kiruna, from here, by beginning of next year. After the hop tests, which are taking place here, we will do real orbital flights from Kourou, the European spaceport, and this will be our path towards reusable, sustainable spaceflight. So let me really thank you, all of you, my member states of ESA, the European Commission, for the excellent cooperation we have It is a very great pleasure to be here with you, but we have a lot of work to do, and I would like to look forward together to the next Space Summit, which we're organizing in November between the EU and ESA member states to make important decisions to go towards space, independent access to space, guaranteed for Europe. Thank you very much from my side. Let me now introduce the next speakers, who are 3 astronauts which have come all the way here, one of them, or 2 of them already being locals here from Sweden. First of all, Christer Fuglesang, who flew twice on the space shuttle to the International Space Station, and he has conducted 30 hours of spacewalks in very hostile environment. Second, Claudie Heneret, who flew in 1996 and 2001, also being the first European woman in space, and an ESA astronaut, of course. And finally, at the ESA Ministerial Conference just a few weeks ago in Paris, I selected a new class of astronauts. I'm sure you have seen this announced in the news, and I'm very happy to introduce one of Swedish nationality, who is Marcus Wandt, who is a new member of the ESA Astronaut Corps. Please, I hand over to my fellow colleagues astronauts.
Thank you, Mr. Aschbacher. Marcus, Claudie, and I, we are very honored and glad to be here today. Almost as much as being in space, actually. We are so proud of having the opportunity to represent Europe in space physically. And when you are in space and you see with your own eyes our wonderful, beautiful planet, and you understand all the opportunities we have from space, and you also see the importance of taking care of our home and cradle, and the benefits and possibilities space offers, it penetrates into your heart and soul. And I would like to ask now you, Claudie, as a scientist, as a foreign minister of research, and have done experiment in space yourself. What do you look upon the research possibilities regarding space?
Okay, thank you, Christer. Good morning. As a kid of Apollo generation, I had a dream to take part of space adventure. As a young adult, I had a passion, medicine, life science research, and thanks to space agencies, CNES and the European Space Agency, I was able to combine dream and passion, becoming an astronaut. I'm still amazed by the potentiality of research in microgravity, life science, physics, in order to enlarge, to complete our hypothesis on Earth, and also to prepare the future of space exploration. And I'm fascinated, and mainly here with all this innovation and technologies, the recent progress in dealing with new tools for research in microgravity, be it autonomous, automatic, and robotic with small satellites, with new generation infrastructure, or being this orbital laboratory that we know in a space station with this close cooperation between the crew members on board and the team on the ground. For all these reasons, what you said is that we need absolutely this access to space, a competitive one, but I think we need also maybe to change a little bit our culture in our partnership. That means space and non-space entities, be it institutional, EU, ESA, member states, academic, private and public companies, commercial entities, startups with entrepreneurial spirit. So we need that in order to be a global space players, recognized as reliable partners in the international cooperation. And I would say that space research, innovation in engineering and technology, and cooperation, global cooperation, is a most powerful sources of inspiration for the young talents. Male and female, I would say more female than currently in this field of aeronautic. But space research has, thank you. Space research, it's also science of the universe, exploring deep space and exciting mission. But space research, as you said, is also a collection of data that are essential to face our European socio-economic challenges with more efficiency, but also to tackle these burning global issues, climate change, security, that has been said. And I will finish with the fact that the ESA European astronauts are the more representative personification of European identity. That's important. They are our pride. They inspire the youngest. They make them dream. So for them too, we need to be bold and ambitious. We need to take advantage of our diversity, of our national complementary strengths in order to be ambitious collectively for this young generation. I would like to say to Marcus, you are the new generation.
What do you say,
Marcus?
Marcus?
Yes, what do I say about that? I haven't been to space, so I can't say much about that. But I'm aiming for it, though, very much so. Of course, I'm honored to be a part of this and to continue to build on what you all have created. And what pulled me into this was the inspiration of, I've always been inspired by innovation and progress and going out into the unknown, uncharted terrain and see what we can learn on the way. It's not always the goal that learns the most of the travel. We find things along the way, and I think space is a very good opportunity for that. So that's one of the main reasons. But then it all comes down to very concrete goals which will benefit for Earth. I've been working in security and development and innovation in Sweden for a long time now. And I know you've been in security for a while as well now, Christer, when it comes to space.
Yeah, security is really a very big issue for space, and both from a military and a civilian point of view. And space domain has become one of the very important parts when it comes to defense. And one of the most important things is to know what's happening, right? And that we do from space with the surveillance of satellites and things like that. And it's a very important asset which we have there, both for surveillance and for communication, navigation. It's very important we can take care of that to protect it and also replace it quickly if there comes a bad situation. And that's why this site now, with these new rockets, will be so important.
So maybe, Marco, you can share some perspectives.
Madam President, Prime Minister, Commissioner, Ministers, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, and now also all of you watching us on live stream. Welcome again to Sweden's spaceport since 1966, but from today, the EU mainland's first spaceport, Esrange, in the north of Sweden. As chair of the Swedish Space Corporation, it's my honor and pleasure to welcome you all here and to today's inauguration. Today, it may feel like a small step for us, but this could be a very important, giant leap, actually, for Europe. This third Swedish EU presidency must prioritize security, and space enables us to be stronger on security. Space enables us to be competitive, since everything digital and almost everything in our everyday lives is reliant on satellite networks, which can be powered here from and at this spaceport. And space is important for sustainability and the green transition. When we can watch the Earth and understand what happens on it and even under it, we can be wiser on what to do with the climate and how to help our only planet. Space-enabled access to data, information and communication are strategic for any leaders in the world, which is why European leaders need to invest in it. And I'm very happy to see all of you go around looking at these areas of space here today. These are key to a better Europe and the world. Again, let me thank you so much for coming here. It's a great honor and pleasure for me to be part of this, and I will thank everyone who made this today's inauguration possible. This inauguration of the EU mainland's first spaceport may feel like a small step for us today, but it enables giant leaps for Europe ahead. And now, it's my honor and pleasure to welcome you to the inauguration itself, where we will have our most distinguished guests. We will see both the Prime Minister of Kristersson, Madam President of the Commission Ursula von der Leyen, and His Majesty the King of Sweden, starting with the Prime Minister and my dear friend Ulf Kristersson. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Anna. It's a true pleasure to be here. Your Majesty, ladies and gentlemen, it's wonderful to be in this very distinguished crowd here today for this very special occasion. It's really been inspiring to listen to previous speakers who really know what they are talking about, and it's clear that exploring space helps us to understand our place in the universe. But space technology and data can also be used to improve the conditions of humankind on Earth. Climate change mitigation is a priority, and space data is key to analyzing changes and identifying effective countermeasures. Space is a global common, and we need to have responsibility to future generations to secure that its use is fair and sustainable. We should all be able to share the benefits of space-based infrastructure and services. This approach also reflects the focus in the space policy area of the Swedish presidency, as we strive for a greener, safer, and freer Europe. Therefore, I am so pleased to be here at Esrange today, together with all of you. With half a century of successful space activities and some 600 launches of sounding rockets. The current geopolitical situation, not least, of course, the Russian invasion of Ukraine, has demonstrated how important it is that the European Union has access to space. Esrange's unique geographical position and long service makes it ideal for launches of satellites in polar orbits and other space activities. For this reason, Sweden has invested in the Esrange launch pad, which will strongly contribute to resilience and access to space. This is actually unique. It is the first facility of its kind of mainland Europe, and I know that it is made possible by teamwork with trusted international partners. Esrange is also an excellent example of how high-quality education and research are essential to our prosperity and contribute to European long-term competitiveness. With these words, I would like to pass the floor to the President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen. Dear Ursula, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prime Minister. Your Majesty, colleagues from the College, dear ministers, distinguished guests, President of the Swedish Space Cooperation, Director General of the European Space Agency, I am delighted to be here with you today to join this inauguration here. It's a big moment. It's a big moment for Europe. It's a big moment for Europe's space industry. The first orbital launch site on European mainland. This spaceport offers an independent European gateway to space. It is exactly the infrastructure we need, not only to continue to innovate, but also to further explore the final frontier. It was fascinating to listen to the scientists that introduced us to the different topics and possibilities that are here. The important work you have been doing here for many, many years is a shining example of the enormous potential of space-based research, indeed, to improve our daily life. Galileo, Copernicus, the new Iris system have been cited a lot today. And if you look at, for example, the green transition, one of the topics we've been discussing here, climate change. Well, if we want to efficiently track the effects of climate change, space provides 60% of the measurements we need. Just look from space and you have the majority of data that you need to understand what's going on. Or take civil protection or traffic management. I will never forget the help of Copernicus we got amidst the pandemic when we had to establish our green lanes to manage as best in a very critical situation. It was Copernicus who helped us and gave us the data that were necessary on a daily basis, really to make decisions that are crucial. This leading-edge spaceport gives Europe the capabilities to address this growing demand. The benefits of small satellites that can be launched from here are immense. We've just heard that it is important to launch over and over these satellites, to have the reusability, to test it. And I was thrilled to hear what is necessary is not so much the investment. Yes, this is also necessary, but it's the political will. So I say to my audience, let's take this as a strong message to show the political will. I've spoken about climate mitigation, but adaptation is equally important. For example, we can track natural disasters in real time. We will never forget, and we've all seen the terrible droughts and floods and forest fires. And yes, they are horrible, but you have to act instantly. And more eyes in the sky then are crucial to help save lives in Europe and around the world. Small satellites, we've heard it, are also important, of importance for our security. Today we know that the brave Ukrainian forces effectively uses small satellites to track the movements of Russian troops. And because of this growing importance overall, many topics that I couldn't touch upon today, the Commission will make a proposal for an EU space strategy for security and defense. The aim is to improve the resilience of the European space infrastructure and strengthen our shared European capabilities. Finally, we are working tirelessly to change the way we do space. This means encouraging the involvement of SMEs and startups in EU flagship initiatives. There's a lot to do. We need you. For example, the Copernicus dynamic purchasing system. It also means promoting access to finance for space entrepreneurs in Europe. So there are so many good reasons why we need to accelerate the European space program. You show us the shining example for it today. I would like to thank everyone involved in this project. Europe has its foothold in space, and we will keep it. Thank you very much.
And finally, to conduct the inauguration, well, please welcome His Majesty the King. And last but not least, I now give the floor to conclude this to the first Swedish astronaut, Mr. Christer Fuglesang. Dr. Christer Fuglesang.
Now the countdown. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take off. And lift off. The first satellite for European mainland soil for the benefit of humanity and the European Union.
At SSE, we like to say space is the future, and now from Spaceport Esrange, we're ready to take you there. If you have questions about any of the advanced space services offered by Swedish Space Corporation, please send an email to info@ssespace.com. Thank you for watching.